Hello model kit builders and VOTOMS fans and video game fans. So Blue Knight Berserker Story is a video game and VOTOMS is a franchise of these small walking tanks. So there's supposed to be a person in this cockpit here, but they're not like Gundams, which are really tall. This would be, I don't know, 10 tons or something. I can't find much information. This is all I could find. The Calamity dog is a future experimental mid-class trooper piloted by Chroma Zender. That's all we know. So, alright, if you haven't watched my channel, I have a bunch of other model kits from this series and built already, and I still have a few more to go. So this is from Volume 4, the last of the model kit series. The series come out in waves of 3, and this is, I guess, the 12th one because it's number 3 in this wave. And it came out in 2020. So if you're curious, you can also get this. I have to build that one still. It gives you dimensions. So this is 90 millimeters tall. These are supposed to be 1/48 scale, so they go with Actic gear, Takara Actic gear VOTOMS. And then the first one is called the Rectionetter, and I built that one as well. This one goes into landing pose. Alright, let's open this guy up, and there we go. There's a little thumb tab there. Here's a piece of gum. 2020 gum. Yeah, it looks like there's a hair in that thing. I'm going to throw that one out. Instructions. Pretty straightforward. Not too hard. Alright, it's only 2 pages. 2 sides worth. Alright, put that away. And being built by Bandai, there's no need for glue. You know, I find that if you paint them, obviously they're going to look better because the molding cut-off nubs are going to be visible. So that's kind of nice that all this was just one bag. You know, it's not too wasteful. Okay, so let's get that out. So there's one lone piece here because it has painted eyes already on it, so that's nice. Green and a tiny bit of yellow up in there. And this one I don't think has anything, or maybe it's got black if anything. It's really small. Alright, so that's the cockpit cover. Let me get a different angle here. Let's see if any of the other runners have paint on them. It doesn't seem like they do. Nope, not these. Very often on the other kits at least, there'd be like one runner of painted parts. But it looks like they took it easy on this kit. He says this is it. That's all you got with some paint on it. That's fine. Now unfortunately this red plastic is not looking nice at all. You can see where the plastic met or something in the mold. This shape, the swirliness there, and there, and there. So I'm going to have to repaint this, unfortunately. Alright, yeah, let's take a look at the gray. The gray is much nicer. It seems glossier. Something about it looks like glossy parts here. This is an off-white, it's not a stark white. It's definitely a little bit darker. Seems pretty high quality though, this plastic. It's only the red that seems to be too ugly to leave alone. I think, yeah, I'm gonna see, look at that. Right? All those weird molding artifacts, or whatever you'd want to call those, I'm not sure. Yeah, this isn't so great either. This backpack, you can see the swirliness going on in there. So, yeah, that looks like it's on the outside. So I might have to repaint that as well. Okay, well, I'm going to clip these off the sprues. I pull out some organizers, and then I think I'm going to put it to some music, possibly fast forward it as well. And there we are after quite a long time. I was experimenting with two types of paint to find a red for a Sazabi figure I'm going to do later. Not Sazabi, Nightingale figure, Gundam. And I'm glad I did it because, yeah, some of the colors are off. But let's get the color out of the way first. So here's some test paint just on a piece of copy paper. So first I put some Vallejo black primer down. And then here I have Vallejo Chrome, it's this vertical strip, Vallejo Steel, Vallejo Aluminum, Vallejo Gold, and Vallejo Glorious Gold. And then I have Vallejo Transparent Red going across this way. And then I have the Citadel Transparent Red. I was writing in a paint booth, but it's called Angron Red Clear. That's what this bottom one is. So you can, well, I'm not sure what your screen's going to show, but this is very pink. It's almost like magenta, this Vallejo clear red, or transparent red. So it's not good, and it's not until it's shot over gold that it starts to become red. But the Citadel stuff, it's pretty much red all the way around. I didn't gloss coat this. This is just all raw. There's no clear coat over this. That's why it looks really rough. But if you're curious, about mixing, these colors, yeah, there you go. Okay, so yeah, that's ultimately I went with these two, Vallejo Glorious Gold, and then the Citadel Angron thing. So on the figure, those colors are quite different. On that copy paper, this Vallejo red over gold simply doesn't look like this. It looks red. It looks like a satin finish red, so I rather like it. What didn't work out so well is now this. Although I actually like the color, I wouldn't call that red. This is that Glorious Gold with the Citadel red over it. But to me, I would say that's more orange. Yeah, you can kind of really see here. I didn't put a very large amount of the red on. Maybe that's why it looks orange. But I would say I put around the same amount of Vallejo versus the Citadel over the same Glorious Gold color. So yeah, it's interesting. But anyways, I have a two-tone effect, and you can see I've actually worn some away here because the paint is pretty thin, and I don't mind that because this is a robot meant to battle stuff. So. It's just paint chips now. There's a lot of extra parts here. Let's get those out of the way. This is I guess that's not an extra part. It's a rifle. And then you have two hands that can hold it. I'll show you that here. So you have a right and left hand that can hold that weapon with this like round hole. But then you have two normal fists, right and left fists. And then you have two open hands, right? So you got 6 hands to work with. And then there are some parts that have absolutely nothing to do with this robot. This visor looking thing, clearly it can't go onto that because the thing has no head. And then this is like a spike thing that goes on an arm for like a Berserga. And the tolerance is so tight that it's just stripped the paint off. But anyways, it's nice to have spares if you want to customize something else. Or maybe you could still, I guess you could somehow modify this and glue it on to the forearm if you wanted to. But I'm not going to bother. Now we have 2 extra forearms because this thing, you could have 2 forearms with these pieces of what I painted metal sticking out, right? There's also a totally blank forearm. Right, so you can have that. And then there's this piece, which I just put on at the last moment. It clearly has a ball peg on it. But what's weird is there's nothing for that ball peg to go into. Yeah, I thought it was going to go into one of these shields, but these shields don't have a ball peg recess. They literally have the ball peg on them. So, I don't know. I guess someday I'm going to find something and modify it to put on this guy, because I like this mechanism, it looks like a lever with a piston and stuff like that. I could obviously switch back, but I think that'd be boring. So I'm gonna just leave that on for now. Okay, so the shoulders, you have 3 different shoulders. Well, 3 shoulders, never mind. This is identical to this side. So if you want, you could have it look identical like that. But there was this one with this like, I'm gonna guess that's like a sensor or something. So I decided to do that. I like my stuff asymmetric. Then we have these 2 extra hip things, armor. So I have one of each on there. You know, this is very angular, and this is got like a toe hook or something, and it's rounded. So I put one on each side. These are the little leg contraptions. If you want this to be in the crouching mode, you would literally take the knee apart and then pop this in place of that knee, and then the legs would be in the crouch mode, but I never pose them that way. So this is a torso bottom for like a scope dog. As to what it's doing in here, I don't know. This is an extra antenna for some other robot. This antenna here has a peg going into that canopy, so this might be for something else. And then it's got 2 angled shoulder ball pegs. I didn't even bother putting them in there. I guess you could. But usually there's a recess that looks like a square in order for those to go into. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that'll fit if you want to raise these shoulders up higher. But I'm not going to bother because this thing doesn't really look like anything. There's almost no reference material about this robot. So, and then these are 2 extra pieces that go into these joints here. So in fact, actually, it would have been smart if I actually put those inside these, and then I could hot swap these forearms. Maybe I'll do that later. Alright, so it's nice that you get extra parts, although frankly, I would rather have less of those extra parts and have a pilot figure. But all these Bandai VOTOMS, they don't come with pilot figures. So that's why I didn't even care to mask off the interior. Now what's an issue is popping this open. I didn't actually paint the side of this hatch, but it's such a tight fit, I am having a hard time opening it. Like, there's no way to get your finger under there, right? I mean, you could pull this off, but I don't want to do that every time I open it. So I'm going to just pull on this antenna and hope it doesn't break. No. Yeah, that's crazy. There is a seat in the control panel. I guess I am going to have to literally pull this front nose off a little bit. But so tight. That brings up another point. It's actually wise when it comes to Bandai kits to mask off anywhere where you're going to press fit something together. So anytime there's a half and half, like here, right? Adding the extra paint, you can probably tighten it, but it'll be really hard to get it loose again. See, I can't even pull this apart anymore because the paint is taking up so much extra space in that peg hole. So I think maybe that's what happened here on the front end of this guy. So I'm afraid I can't actually show you the cockpit. See, that thing, the force just came out there. I guess now I can pry this in there, but no, there's something. No, it's too strong. Well, I apologize for that. If you really want to see the cockpit, it's pretty much the same as the other cockpits. You can also rewind when I was putting this thing together, and you'll see it better. But I'm never going to pose it with the cockpit open because, again, they don't even come with figures. So it does seem like there's a pretty good amount of articulation here. This is a poster putty. I use this to mask off some of the posts. You know, so if you don't want paint on this ball joint, you know, you just do that before you paint it and you peel it off. All right, random tips as I go along. All right, let's get into some of the articulation and features. So, well, you have to just kind of imagine that hatch opening, or again, rewind. We have 2 machine guns. They're just pressed in from the front, so you can take them out. But they don't actually have a recess in the barrel, which is kind of weak. So, I don't know. It's just weird. That looks like an optical sensor recessed there. Maybe that would spin left and right, but it doesn't on this model. I also used a poster putty to mask off those 3 holes, so that's the original paint. Alright, so going to the backpack here, we have these 2 rotating cannons, I assume. Granted, they're not hollow in the middle. Might be good to drill those out. And then there's a nice machine gun belt feed here. So maybe they're machine guns, right? Because that's clearly too thin to be sending large cannon ammunition through it. And then these are 2 magazines, or probably feeding this motorized thing, and they feed into these machine guns up top. Alright. I tried to have some contrast. This is just aluminum. This is aluminum mixed with some white. Again, with no actual reference material, just have fun, right? Nice little arrow here you could easily add some paint into. This is recessed as well. You could add paint into that, nice and easy. The gun magazines also have a recessed X. There's also a triangle back here and some rivet marks there. So that's pretty neat. At the back here you have this little armor flap that can go a little bit up and down. Right, so you can add some black or something in there. And then the torso is on a ball peg. So, but unfortunately there's not much movement because it's so close. So you can spin it. And you can pivot a little bit, but yeah. It's quite a smart design here where they took this armor plate and you can move it a little bit, but it's actually hollow up in here. So it's recessed. You can only spin it a few degrees before it starts colliding, but it's nice. It's well thought out. Alright, so I think that's the top torso, and then the shoulder here. This shoulder thing will pivot independent of the actual shoulder going into the torso, which is on a ball peg, so that thing can rotate all around and get a little bit of in and out. And then there's a split right here, so you can rotate that whole thing. Hold on, let me do it this way. Yeah, rotate that, and then the elbow is just a single joint right there, hinge joint. So the armor's going to collide with itself, which is fine, I guess. You can actually pull this out more and maybe clear it, but because I have so much paint on it, it's not easy to do, so I'm not going to bother. The hands have the ball peg there. They're pretty easy to get in and out, so that's nice. I guess I'll just pop this on the weapon here. Put on at the end though. Alright, so yeah, this is on a ball peg. Where's the other one? So you can clearly see that can swivel around this this thigh. And then in the crotch area you have a drop down. This peg here, ball peg, can drop down if you want more height, or crunch it up like that, or pull down to get extra articulation. So being a ball peg, you can move it back and forth quite a bit in and out. Yeah, you can see that I just painted right over it, and it's just gonna scratch the paint off, which is fine because you're not gonna really see it. Yeah, so you can pretty much articulate in really strange, unnatural ways. Okay. Alright, so the knee. It's just a single joint, I believe. Yeah. This up here doesn't pivot. So that's a straight leg right there. And then you get around 90 degrees, I would say. On this outer, what is this now, the shin, I guess, or calf side area of the lower leg. I guess, I don't know what the side area of the lower leg would be called. That's the calf, that's the shin, but this, whatever. So this little thruster thing can rotate, and I painted the gunmetal on this one. And then what's nice is down here you have 3, points of articulation. This thing, I guess, maybe helps that leg there, or maybe it has to do with the full crouch down mode. And then this back armor can pivot up and down a little bit. hold on here. There you go. And then you see there's this J-shaped ankle hinge, and this is an open slot, so you can actually push that up or, hold on, pull it down to get a lot of extra, you know, forward. Look at this. That thing's wacky. That makes no sense, but you can do it. That obviously doesn't look so nice. You can bring that armor down to help it out. This front one angles up quite a bit, angles down quite a bit. Alright, and then on the end of this J-shaped thing, there's a ball peg. Well, there's a peg down there, so you can pivot that forward and back, and then you could also get a whole lot of side-to-side rocker for some really extreme posing. And then once you find that pose you like, you know, just bring these armor plates down. Alright, these little drive wheels, they don't really want to spin, but they are on round pegs. This one will definitely not spin because this round part is actually casted in with this thing that goes into the bottom of the foot here. So yeah, there's the bottom, some bottom details. Yeah, let's see, anything else? I think that's it for the articulation. Everything pretty tight because it's a new model. So yeah, it's good for me. So let's get this on here. So that elbow actually can be a double hinge because this plate here will pivot. I didn't actually realize that. So I'm just putting these in here, and let's swap one out since I've got it done anyways. So that's just gonna stay like that forever. And I guess since I don't have the shield, I guess I will remove this one to strut. So this has a peg on it too. Oh, see, that way you could extend the forearm a little bit, maybe get extra clearance. See, so that's a lot more of a bend than before. Whereas before, well, yeah, I'll show you on the next piece. So I gotta twist that out, yeah, and then pop that in this one. You know what? I'm gonna go with the one without a piece of metal on it. Yeah, so definitely get some pivoting there just by that plate moving, but then this thing is a pivot as well, so yeah, you can definitely get it to do a lot. Let's pop this in here. Yeah, the further you press it down, right, it's going to collide with itself. Maybe not, but it does open up that back if you fold both. But I'm not really bothered by that. Alright, so get this up here. Alright, so I have a plain forearm and the forearm with a metal piece, again, just to keep it asymmetric. If you're completely new to VOTOMS and stuff, this is roughly up to the back of the backpack here, roughly 10 centimeters or around 4 inches. I have it in the low position. Again, the hip drop, you could make it taller if you want to. I'll just do a neutral stance now to compare. Here's a scope dog. That's probably the most popular type of VOTOMS, and it is, I think, possibly the smallest of all the VOTOMS, compared to all the other ones I have, at least. So this is the other similar one that I've already done, but it's actually quite different still. So let me actually put these right next to each other. And you can clearly see the differences here. Well, this armor plate is identical. This is identical. The whole side ammo packs are identical. The drive wheel foot, I think the feet are identical. The side thrust, actually the whole lower legs, actually I think all the bottom half of these guys are identical. But yeah, this torso is definitely different. It has a longer torso. Obviously the top of this backpack is different. The head is clearly different. This one just has some plain, a plain round armor there, and then a crazy looking triangular thing for some reason. And naturally it has a claw for a hand, so that's quite odd. And that's why I like it. I haven't painted this model kit. Some of the orange parts were already painted, but you can see where I clipped it off. You can see the plastic underneath it. So you can, yeah, you can just see all the nubs from me cutting off parts and not doing a good job. But the optics, again, were already painted, just like on this one. So some of these Bandai kits, yeah, there's a lot of paint already done for you, which is great. Alright, I do have one other model kit, and this is called a Rectionetter, I believe. It's just so weird. So again, this red is already pre-painted, which is great because I would have a hard time doing that. But nothing else is. You know, obviously, if this was all metallic, it would be nicer, but I didn't feel like doing it. That's a much shorter robot in general. Put the original scope dog out there. This is a Takara Actic gear. There's 1/48 scale on the packaging. These Bandais don't say any scale, but I'm pretty sure they're going for 1/48 scale because they look very similar in size. Although I guess the hands of these guys do seem to be bigger overall. I mean, these are pretty small hands, so maybe they are slightly bigger, but I think they fit well on the same bookshelf, so if it bothers you, you've been warned, but I am definitely happy with them. Let me repose this guy into a more exciting position like the other ones. Yeah, some machine guns up. I failed to mention, I think, that there's a little bit of pivoting here for the front of the foot. So let's see, just drop, well, let's make it taller. Maybe we'll make it curving off to the side. Pull that one back. Maybe move this leg forward, bend it a little bit. Yeah, it's a little more exciting, but obviously very gappy there. But from the front view, it seems okay. So you can definitely have a lot of fun with these guys. They're quite posable, like most Bandai model Gundams. It's very similar in its construction and engineering. Very well thought out. Alright guys, well thank you for watching today, and I'll see you the next time I build one of these model kits. Bye.